Now on board we join Derek Thompson at Newmarket for an afternoon's Channel 4 racing.
It may look a lovely day from there, but I tell you what, we could be in for a shower or two, because just look at this, some real grey clouds up above what is the final day's racing of the year here at Newmarket. It all started with the Craven meeting back in April, and now 6 months on, here we are on what is a bitterly cold afternoon. But there's one way to warm us up, and that's with good, exciting racing, and that is what I'm certain we've got in our 3 live races for you from headquarters today. And the going is now good, and we start in a few minutes' time with the Ben Marshall Stakes. That's named after the famous painter. It's a listed race over a mile. At 1:45, the Jennings, the bookmaker Zeppelin Stakes, another listed race, but this one over a mile and a quarter. And we round off our coverage with the big betting race of the day, the £25,000 final of the Mail on Sunday series that's attracted 13 runners, and that's over a mile and a furlong. Also today, we'll be looking back on the highlights of last weekend's Breeders' Cup race meeting at Belmont Park in New York. We'll be seeing Deja throw away his chance of winning by incredibly jumping a shadow with the race at his mercy. And we'll also see Lester Piggott showing the racing world why he's one of the greatest jockeys of all time, and also breaking into a smile. Yeah, that was quite a day, and we'll be looking back on that, Jim McGraw, on the programme today. But I tell you what, let's first of all look back on a race here yesterday. Now, the race was the Soham House Stakes for 2-year-olds, and this race over the years has been the stepping stone to international glory for horses like Dancing Brave, Kayazi, and also Belmez. And judging by the victory of a horse here yesterday called Polish King, Jim, we could have another star in the making?
Well, I think that was the general reaction, Derek, and obviously the horse was very impressive. I think what we've got to do now is, if we can, try and put it under the spotlight and say, what does it actually mean?
Well, there is the spotlights on him. 4.5 furlongs out in yesterday's race, and he's already cruising through to dispute the lead.
He's cruising through to dispute the lead with Vasambo, who's in white colours next to the rails where Cochrane Guy Harwood might. Now, just watch Walter Swinburne in Sir Gordon White's colours on the horse, on that one's outside. He looks across at Greville in a minute, and not Greville, Ray in a minute, and you get the impression he's always having a chat to him. Now, this horse goes on, he hardly comes... Look, there's the first look round.
Yeah.
And eventually, Caithness Cloud runs on to be second in green colours. He's disputing third at the minute. Another look round, and it was the ease with which the horse actually came away that was so strikingly impressive. What I was disappointed with, knowing Walter Swinburne and Michael Stout, the reason the horse is on the track here was to learn something. I was a bit surprised Wally didn't kick him out and teach him a little bit up the hill. He pulled his whip through. He didn't have to do anything. Watch the horse prick his ears. I just thought that Walter has a look between his arms there. He could have taught him a little bit more. Caithness Cloud, Derek, who'd shaped promisingly in, a reasonable race at Nottingham first time out, is flattered to finish so close. Luca Kumani's horse runs on well. That's one for the notebook to finish third.
Yeah.
You can't say the form amounts to anything. The impression the horse gave was he was a whole lot better than that. He's well bred. I think anybody at home is going to back him for the guineas. Rather like we get this time and time again. Hold your fire. Let's see him again next spring. He's a nice prospect, but he's got to do more yet.
He's by Danzig, who's getting some very good stock. Do you think he'll stay a mile and a half?
I think that's got to be open to question. Danzig has got a couple of horses that are effective at that trip, but by and large, he gets horses who are effective really from sprint distances in Dejour up to a mile. They are his most effective progeny. But that horse is, although he raced keenly, he didn't tear away. I mean, that was a mile yesterday. He'd get a mile and a quarter. Whether he gets a mile and a half is another matter.
It's interesting you say, why didn't Walter just sort of pick him up and try and get some experience into him? It also begs the question, why hasn't he run for, why has it been sort of the last week of the season before he's actually run? And I know Michael's got, what, nearly 70-odd horses that haven't run yet. He's a very patient trainer.
Well, also, Derek, it's the problem we've had with firm ground all summer. It's only changed in the last 6 weeks. And what tremendous form Michael Stout's been in since he's unleashed. I mean, he's got 6 or 7 like this. That attracted the headlines because it was on the SIS and it was here at Newmarket. He's had a couple win like that at Leicester as well.
Incidentally, Michael Stout said this morning that the horse is fine, he's well, and I think he's a cracking prospect for next year.
Let's look forward to seeing him then.
Go and join John Franco, because you're doing the paddock today, and get your coat on because it's cold.
That's news to me. I thought John was all on his own.
Go look after him, look after him. Anyway, let's get into the action with our first live race today, and this is the 115, the Ben Marshall Stakes. You probably heard the bell in the background for the jockeys to get mounted. It's over a mile. There are 9 runners. Let's have them named by a race commentator, Graham Good.
Sheikh Mohammed has 4 in this race. Number 1, Totem Willie Carson, runs in a white sash. Number 2, Just 3, is ridden by Paul Edery. Number 3, Sabotage, Visored, Walter Swinburne rides, and that one's in the first colours. Pelorus is ridden by Brian Rouse. Number 5, Rushmore, Richard Quinsman, has a black cap. And number 6, Swordsmith, Michael Hills, has a white cap. Number 7, 2 Left Feet, George Duffield. Number 8, Power Takeoff, ridden by John Williams, bit of a local tip for that one. And number 9, Home Truth, ridden by Pat Edery, who in fact is putting up 1 pound overweight at 8 stone 5.
And here's Saturday Bet, 2 Left Feet, the 3-to-1 favourite from 7-2. Power Takeoff is 130 from 3-1, and Swordsmith a 5-to-1 chance. Home Truth is 6-to-1 from 5s. Pelorus steady on 8-to-1, and Sabotage at 12s together with Totem. Just 3 and Rushmore are the 33-to-1 outsiders.
Interesting betting. 2 Left Feet favourite at the moment. They're being led down by Rushmore. He wears the black cap, incidentally. Sheikh Mohammed has 4 horses in this. Black cap on Rushmore. But the horse we're concentrating on is the second of these 4 horses coming down. And this is 2 Left Feet, ridden by George Duffield, who after winning 3 races as a 2-year-old, had been finding life difficult trying to win races as a 3-year-old. But after a 3-month break, his trainer, Sir Mark Prescott, sent him to Chester last week for the Coronation Street Birthday Cup Handicap. And although the ground was bottomless, he raced away to a very impressive success.
We're just over 2 furlongs to go. Anodyne and Pat Edery in this irrepressible drive to the line. Sporting Simon up on the outside. 2 Left Feet is making ground. A length behind these comes El Rey, and Final Shot from Golden Ancona, and then Hackford and Arrow Mission. Luzon drops away. Island Wedding won't be winning, but it's 2 Left Feet on the left of the picture, and he's come through and he's taken the race by storm. He's going to beat the favourite Anodyne, and as they race inside the final furlong, it's 2 Left Feet in the double here in the mud for George Duffield. Up towards the line, 2 Left Feet takes it at the post. 2 Left Feet is the winner.
Well, that was a very impressive performance, considering the horse hadn't raced for 3 months, but that was bottomless ground. It's a bit different today. But John Frankham, he has won on good ground before. How do you think he'll go?
I think he's a lovely horse, this. I think he's a pleasure to train. 2 Left Feet. He does really show his best on the much softer surface, but he's honest and he's genuine, and for that reason he also gives his best even when the ground's against him. So he's got just runs with a breastplate on there, 2 Left Feet, and well, he couldn't have won any easier than he did there at Chester. That was his first run since July, in actual fact, when he finished behind My Admiral, and he ran in the Magnet Cup, if you remember, way back in July behind Eradicate. Comes to himself this time of year. He won on this day last season. I think he won the equivalent of one of the later races. Lovely big horse, and fit in to give Sir Mark Prescott his 44th winner of the season. Lovely picture of him cantering down there. I think not only is he a pleasure to train, I think he's a pleasure to ride as well. One of the few. Paul Edery coming out there now on Just 3 for Matty McCormack. And Paul Edery's been having a really good run the last couple of months. And Just 3, like a lot of these horses, falls between 2 stools, gets clobbered with weight. Sabotage coming out. He's got visors on for the first time this afternoon. Walter Swinburne, it's no good in me telling you about the run he's been having, because we've been keeping you informed of that. Ridden his 100th winner. I've ridden 100 winners for the first time this season. And it might be the making of this horse, Sabotage, a pair of visors, just to sharpen him up. He loves it here at Newmarket. And He won the Wood Ditton. That was early on last season. He also ran and won the main Reef Stakes. And we saw him running behind Para Takeoff. That was in the Baron International Derby Stakes. That was here in October. Now, you can see him coming to challenge. Raj Wacky and Ray Cochrane win this race. And they've always been up there in the firing line. Theatrical Charmer's come from quite a way back. He's over there on the rails with Bruce Raymond. Para Takeoff, she's running well with John Williams to finish third. But now, see, Sabotage, well, I don't know whether you could say he's ungenuine and the visors will make a difference to him. I'm not totally convinced that they will. I think that he always struck me as a horse that's doing his best. Well, we've just seen Para Takeoff. She is a really big, powerful filly. This John Williams, like a lot of these jockeys at the top, is having by far his best season. And he rides a lot for David Ellsworth. And, well, as you can see, she really is a big filly, Para Takeoff. She's been running in good listed races. And a lot of these, I think, are going to have a job to hold her in the closing stages. She ran in that race, we've just seen her running behind Raj Wacky, where she was held up and doing all of her best work in the end. And she ran in the Group 3 race. That was in the Kiverton Park Stakes, where she wasn't good enough, obviously, behind Green Line Express and Sally Rouse. But she began the season with a really good win in a competitive race up at York. Lovely filly. I think she's going to take all of the beating. Well, Sheikh Mohammed's got 4 runners. And Barry Hills has also got 2 runners here. There's Home Truth there, who's a nice filly. She's by known fact. And she bolted up last time out at Chepstow. And she's been on the go. She's been remarkably consistent. If you remember, she finished 3rd in the Schweppes Golden Mile and was disqualified. She's run some really good races, and she's held her form really well. And she's been certainly been adding to the amazing total of Barry Hills this season. And just to look at her in the paddock beforehand, she didn't look as though she'd been on the go all season. She looks fit, but she certainly looks a long way from gone. I think she's got a good chance. Pat Edry looking a little bit cold there. Let's take a look at the betting.
And Home Truth in the market, 13-2, opened up at 5-1, so somewhat on the drift. 2 left feet, 11-4 favourite. Power Takeoff 130, Sawsmith 11-2. Dolores 10-1 from 8-1, and Sabotage and Totem both out to 14s and 12s. Just 3 and Rushmore 33-1 outsiders, all quoted for the Ben Marshall Stakes.
And there, just walking away from us there, is Swordsmith, the other one of Barry's runners. Now this horse, I think he's got an excellent chance. He was good enough to run 4th first time out in the Greenham behind Rock City and Rami, and he confirmed that he was back to that. So he was disappointed in after that. He ran in the Guineas, didn't show any sort of form at all that day, but he ran up to that form at Warwick last time out, again behind Rami. And he's obviously a decent horse, this. Michael Hill's riding this one for his father. One who hasn't had too much racing this year, he's only had just the 2 runs, is Pelorus. Really wonderful looking horse, this. And he's been good enough to win with 10 stone on his back last year. And he only just got touched off by Braeswick as well last season. That was top class for him. Look at him, he looks like a stallion. And, well, that's certainly make a lovely stallion when he finally finishes his racing career. When he gets onto the racecourse, he's obviously a difficult horse to train. When he gets to the racecourse, he's got an awful lot of ability. Certainly appreciate a little bit more cut in the ground. That was Richard Quinn on Rushmore, huddling down, trying to shelter a little bit from the breeze. Well, we've looked at most of Sheikh Mohammed's runners. Let's have a look now at a horse that was trained last year by David O'Brien. That's Totem. Willie Carson trying to better his best score of the season ever. So far he's on the 182 winner mark, and he just needs this one to go past that. He's been on it for a couple of days, and Totem's just had a couple of runs so far this season, behind Swordsmith last time out and finished behind Just 3 at Haydock. That was way back in June, so you'd think that he ought to be just coming back to himself. There is Just 3 on his way in. Well, we've got the first couple to go in, and there's Home Truth. Just having a little jog round. Paddock keeping her warm. 2 left feet now, 11 to 4. Open race this. Power Takeoff, 100 to 30. 11 to 2 Swordsmith. 7 to 1 bar the others. And if you get down to the start on a day like this, it's quite important to keep these horses just a little bit warm, just to keep them on the move. And if you back Power Takeoff, I should think there she is, just on the right of your picture. Just have to keep your eye out. I think she'd be just about midfield towards the rear. And David Ellsworth, amazing flat season finishes as his jumping season begins. Overlaps, he's had some nice winners over jumps already. He's got a nice hurler making his debut this afternoon at Chepstow. And that's 2 left feet and Home Truth just waiting to be loaded up. And that's Pelorus just having the hood on, and I would imagine if he didn't want to go anywhere, all the men in the world wouldn't be able to make him. Big strapping horse, 2 left feet and Home Truth, 1 more to go in. Rawley, you can take them home from here.
Thanks very much. Yes, 3 to go, these 2 and also Power Takeoff. Just going on the far side, that's the favourite, 2 left feet. On the near side is one of the 2 fillies, Home Truth, and the other filly, Power Takeoff, is there she is, about to go in to complete this 9-runner lineup for this listed race, the Ben Marshall Stakes. That's it, under orders underway to a reasonably level break. And the first one to go on is Rushmore, racing in a black cap. Rushmore from just 3. Settle in 3rd place with a white sash, that is Totem, followed by the favourite, 2 left feet. Close up with Totem on the outside of him. In a white cap now, that is Swordsmith. And after these, visor for the first time, Sabotage. The last 3 are Pelorus, Power Takeoff, and finally Home Truth. But it's Rushmore who leads them as they come to the end of the 2nd furlong. Rushmore and Richard Quinn leading from just 3 in 2nd place. Close up now on the outside is the favourite, 2 left feet under George Duffield. They're coming now towards the final 5 furlongs, so they've covered just about 3. And it's Rushmore still over on the inside from just 3 in the favourite, 2 left feet. With that order, it's over the grandstand and Graham Good.
And 2 left feet in the pale jacket on the outside. They're going plenty fast in the forum, and the ground is certainly nowhere near as it was, as heavy as it was at Chester. And it's Rushmore with a black cap leading. Just 3 ridden along in the green jacket, 2 left feet. And now the Sheikh Mohammed trio closing on the outside, Sabotage and Totem, and Swordsmith with a white cap. A length behind these Pelorus. Power Takeoff is 2nd from the right, and on the extreme right was Home Truth, who was just a bit outpaced as they went through the first half mile, and is some 3 lengths off the leader. And that's Rushmore. He's made all the running, but Swordsmith is coming with a run, and so too 2 left feet, and that one takes command now as they race with a furlong to go. It's 2 left feet on the outside of Swordsmith, and Rushmore back in 3rd, a length and a half back to Sabotage, and it's 2 left feet driving to the line, and 2 left feet's going to win it at the line. 2 left feet is the winner, with Swordsmith 2nd, Rushmore 3rd, Sabotage 4th, Power Takeoff and beating Totem, and then Home Truth just 3, and last of all was Pelorus. The result then of this listed race, the Ben Marshall Stakes, it's a win for number 7, 2 left feet, in the colours of Mr. P.W. Mullins, trained at Newmarket by Sir Mark Prescott, and ridden by George Duffield, his 79th winner of the season. 2nd horse home is number 6, Swordsmith. 3rd is number 5, Rushmore. And now Rushmore, on the black cap on the left of the picture, had made all the running, and they were queuing up to take the leader on, which is 2 left feet in the pink jacket. Plenty of money for Power Takeoff, 2nd from the right of the picture, but that one never really got, she never got into the race with any sort of chance at all. Neither did Home Truth, which is a bit of a disappointment. But on this faster ground, 2 left feet, the fresh horse has come home clear ahead of the 2nd horse home, Swordsmith, in the white cap. And it's George Duffield punching for home, and his 79th winner of the season. And in the end, a shade comfortably.
Well, they've gone a really good strong gallop right from the off here. Rushmore over there on the rails with Richard Quinn has really been blazing a trail there. Swordsmith and Michael Hills, they've been pushing just to go with him at this stage. Then the winner, 2 left feet, has always been up there in the van. And George Duffield's already given him a couple of cracks by this stage. Sabotage in the blinkers immediately behind him. Now just look behind Home Truth and Pat Eddery looked to have been cantering until we mixed the 2 furlong marker. Then all of a sudden she was beginning to throw out distress signals, as was the filly on her right. Power Takeoff, the writing was on the wall there. George Duffield, though, by this stage, he'd hit the front, sticking his left hand, head down, going for home. This horse really does come to himself this time of year. And Rushmore, he's run a wonderful race over on the rails. He stayed on to be third, just giving best to the owner's other horse there, Swordsmith, in second place. But as Gigi said, in the closing stages, this horse won quite nicely. And there you are, you can't get a better close-up than that. George Duffield, and 2 left feet. It's extraordinary how horses come to themselves at different times of the year. I was saying earlier, this horse won on this day last year. And considering he's been on the go all season, real credit to Sir Mark Prescott. And the lad there turned out impeccably, just as his horse is. Big smile when it gets to this. There you go, there's the price. 2 left feet, 3 to 1. And George Duffield had been remarkably consistent. One of those jockeys who seems to spend his life on the A1 going up and down. Mark Prescott doesn't mind where he sends horses if he thinks they've got a chance of winning. Unfortunately for George, most of that seems to be up the north, although he certainly had some good wins down south, including Arpero. And that puts him on the 79 winner mark. There's Sir Mark there with the pinstripe suit. Obviously a lot tougher than some of us. He's standing there in his suit. I suppose once you've had a winner, you don't feel the cold. Be interesting to know whether he'll keep this horse going on the all-weather or not. We've only got 6 flat days left now on the grass, and a lot of these trainers who've been waiting for the softer ground, these all-weather race courses, are going to be a godsend.
First number 7, 2 left feet at 3 to 1. Second number 6, Swordsmith at 6 to 1. And third number 5, Rushmore at 33 to 1. The favourite is number 8, Power Takeoff at 11 to 4. And the tape returns win £3 exactly. Places 120, 210 and £8.90. The dual forecast paid £13 exactly and 9 rand. And at Sandown, the 12.50 went to number 7, Corrupt Committee at 20 to 1. The second number 2, Tiber River, 3 to 1 joint favourite. And third, number 6, Winner Buck at 9 to 1. Number 4, Record Flight was the other joint favourite and 8 rand. At Chepstow, the 1 o'clock, first number 5, Ivor House, 11 to 8 favourite. The second number 4, New Arrangement, 10 to 1. And third number 1, Ruyan at 8 to 1 and 10 rand. Southall, the 1 o'clock, first number 10, Andrews First, 11 to 4. The second number 12, Grace O'Malley, 14 to 1. And third number 1, Springs Welcome, the 5 to 4 favourite and 18 rand.
There's 2 left feet. He got his name, incidentally, because Sir Mark Prescott was saying his owner was in a funny mood one day. They thought he'd never win a race, so they called him 2 left feet. Well, I think that's good, because I think he's a smashing horse, 2 left feet. And he's done punters proud today, and he really did very well in the mud at Chester last week. Nothing wrong with that form, and he now goes to France, to Maison Lafitte, as he attempts the hat-trick later on this month. Incidentally, the time of that race was fast, 2 seconds faster than standard, which confirms 2 things: that the ground is good, and also there's a hell of a strong wind coming behind them. Right, now if you didn't back the winner of the first race, well, there's still a chance to win 3 first prizes of £100 in our picture puzzle. Take a look at this and see if you can work out the name of the horse that this cartoon suggests to you. Well, it is a topical one, isn't it? 0898 991144 is the number to ring. Now, what you've got to do, ring up, leave your answer to what name of a horse you think it is that's running today. Also, your name and address and phone number as well. And the 3 lucky winners, who are all picked at random, incidentally, it's not the first 3 calls, they're all picked at random, so you could win £100 each, plus the brand new Channel 4 book of racing that is actually released next week. I've had a sneak preview, and it is a superb book. So we'll leave you on that. We'll take a short break, but right after the break, we'll be looking back at the richest race meeting in the world, the Breeders' Cup.
Every minute of every day, Eagle Star opens 8 insurance policies for people all around the world. Eagle Star covers your world.
Now appearing at a Smith's near you, Dangerous Liaisons.
Why do you suppose we only feel compelled to chase the ones who run away?
Immaturity.
Empire of the Sun. Gorillas in the Mist. Just some of the great films now showing on video at W.H. Smith.
It isn't just love that makes the world go round, it's fire. In a burning desire to attract a mate, these beetles carry their fires with them. If a fire can do this for a fly, surely it can bring out the love bug in you. With the British Gas range of decorative fires, the flames can be turned down instantly. Or up, if you so desire, leaving you to enjoy the romance of a real fire without doing much at all. Except what comes naturally. Gas, the heat of the moment.
If you want to keep the kids happy this Christmas, Argus takes care of it.
I don't know what's happened this morning. The battle was supposed to start an hour ago.
Here comes someone now.
Sorry about the delay. My lot won't budge until they've had their Weetabix. But we're ready to start now.
They've had their Weetabix.
They've had their Weetabix.
They've had their Weetabix.
Have you had your Weetabix?
They were tough men. They had come far together, overcome many hazards. Now, wolves threatened. They must move forward, fight them. Nerves frayed, they broke cover. Into the open where the wolves waited.
Just drink Carlton LA, and you're under the influence of nothing but yourself.
Battle was tough. 2 men injured, but they won through.
Carlton LA. Be yourself.
Next week, they face Arsenal.
You know, the nearest thing we've got to a World Championships in horse racing is the Breeders' Cup race meeting, which takes place every year in America. And every one of the 7 races carries a minimum prize of $1 million. Now, last Saturday, Belmont Park in New York played host to Breeders' Cup 7. And on a cold, clear autumn day, over 50,000 people had gathered to watch the best horses and jockeys in the world chasing the dollars. Now, Lester Piggott only came out of retirement 2 weeks earlier, but the 54-year-old confounded his critics with a superb piece of riding
and Royal Academy will be nearest to it. The front of the picture as they break out. Leicester just misses the beat early on. and settles that one last. Piolo last with one. Up on the outside, Expensive Decision is one of the first to show as they come through the first furlong. And Shotgun Scott now assumes command from Expensive Decision. And at this stage, Royal Academy's only got two behind it. One of those is Who's to Pay. Priolo is last of all. But Shotgun Scott from the front by a length to, in second place, Expensive Decision. Then on the outside, racing third is Go Dutch. Four is Steinlen, and Leicester at this stage is towards the rear. There he is, but poised on the outside of Who's to Pay, with Great Norman in behind. And they've got about 3/4 of a mile to go, and it's the track record holder, which is Expensive Decision, who takes command by a length, with in second place Shotgun Scott. Now